Ever felt like some guys move through life like they're breaking a rule book that you never got to read? You watch them, calm, untouchable, like they're living in a parallel dimension where everything's quieter, sharper, more deliberate. That's not an accident. That's a Sigma male. The guy who doesn't play the game because he's too busy building a game of his own. Here's the truth no one tells you. The Sigma male isn't rebellious for attention. He's silent rebellion wrapped in discipline. And the things he does, to the average guy, they feel illegal. Why? Because they break unspoken codes, not the laws of the land, but the laws of comfort, convention, and social conformity. Let's crack open the vault. 1. He ghosts groups without guilt. You know what feels like a crime in today's hyper-connected world? Logging off, leaving the group chat, skipping the Friday night scene without explanation. But a Sigma male? He leaves without a trace and without a single drop of social anxiety. It's not rudeness, it's alignment. He doesn't fake interest and he doesn't fear missing out. He respects time like a currency. And if the energy in the room doesn't match his frequency, he cashes out. Quietly. No goodbyes, no apologies. It drives extroverts nuts. To normal people, it feels illegal, like you just abandoned a tribe. But for Sigmas, solitude isn't loneliness, it's home base. 2. He chooses silence over small talk. You ever been in an elevator with a Sigma male? That awkward silence most people scramble to fill? He lets it breathe. To most people, silence is threatening. It feels like something's wrong. But for the Sigma male, silence is oxygen. It's focus. It's the sound of nothing pulling on your energy. And small talk feels like social junk food, empty calories. So when the room's buzzing with gossip, forced laughs, and filler words, he opts out completely, and people notice. Because ignoring the script makes you look like the villain. But he's not trying to be the villain. He's just not performing. And that, my friend, is what makes people uncomfortable. 3. He talks last, or not at all. In most circles, people fight to be heard, to speak first, to dominate the floor. A Sigma male, he watches, he studies. And when he finally speaks, it lands like a bullet wrapped in velvet. Calm, precise, unignorable. If the room is loud, he waits. If everyone's arguing, he disappears into the back row of his mind, then drops a one-line truth bomb that shuts the whole table up. People who love attention hate this, because he doesn't just say less, he means more. 4. He disappears to evolve, then comes back unrecognizable. Now this one really freaks people out. One day he's around, working, lifting, learning. Then one day he's gone. No drama, no warning, just quiet. 3 months later, he walks back into the room sharper, leaner, colder, smarter, like he's been living in a hyperbolic time chamber. That's because Sigma males don't announce their evolution. They disappear, upgrade in secret, and reappear like a whole new damn chapter. To normal people, this is suspicious. It breaks the illusion of sameness, the comfort of, hey, I know who you are. But you don't know who a Sigma is. Not really, because he keeps becoming. 5. He ignores status. Like it's a joke. Everyone's chasing something. Titles, blue check marks, job promotions, fake followers. And then there's the Sigma. He sees through it. Status doesn't seduce him. Flash doesn't distract him. Applause doesn't motivate him. He could be talking to a CEO or a janitor, and he'd use the same tone. Because for him, status games are for people still trying to prove their worth externally. He's busy stacking internal value. To the average person, that's unsettling, because he refuses to play a game they've already sold their souls to win. 6. He ignores social hierarchies, like they're street graffiti. You ever seen someone walk into a room and not flinch at status? The CEO, the influencer, the guy in the $6,000 suit, all trying to dominate the airspace. And then there's him, the Sigma, scanning the scene like he's looking for an exit, not a throne. He doesn't bow, doesn't flex, doesn't even care. To the average person, ignoring power structures is social suicide. But to a Sigma, that's Tuesday. He talks to the janitor the same way he talks to the billionaire. Not because he's trying to make a statement, but because he doesn't believe in manufactured value. He's allergic to titles, impervious to clout, and uninterested in approval. To most people, status is a drug. To him, it's background noise. And when he does earn respect, it's not through schmoozing, it's through being unshakably himself, regardless of who's watching. 7. He rejects compliments, and it confuses the hell out of people. Tell a Sigma male he's handsome, he'll nod, maybe, then change the subject. Tell him he's brilliant, he'll pause like you just handed him an object with no clear function. It's not that he's insecure, it's that he doesn't feed on affirmation like most do. Normal people thrive on compliments. They collect them like trophies, frame them in their minds, rewatch the praise on mental replay. But Sigma males, they see compliments as reflections, not definitions. To him, saying thank you for flattery feels like agreeing with an illusion. He doesn't need your validation because he's already calibrated his internal compass. It's unsettling, it's weird, it's borderline illegal in a culture built on approval addiction. But for Sigmas, being liked is a byproduct, never the goal. 8. He disappears mid-conversation without losing respect. Now this one's wild. Most people feel a sacred duty to maintain conversations like juggling flaming torches. You smile, you nod, you ask about their dog even though you don't care. You fake laugh. But a Sigma? If he's done, he's done. You could be mid-story, 3 drinks in, building to your emotional climax, and he'll just stand up, say good talking to you, and vanish like a mist with boundaries. It sounds rude, it feels rude, but somehow it isn't, because he's not fake, he's not dramatic, he's just honest. And that honesty, it disarms people, because secretly, everyone wishes they had the guts to walk away from draining interactions without guilt. He doesn't ghost because he's arrogant. He exits because he respects his own energy. And he doesn't pretend to enjoy what doesn't feed him. To the average person, this feels illegal. But to a Sigma, it's just clean living. 9. He keeps his wins a secret, and it drives people crazy. You know what people can't stand? A man who's clearly winning, but refuses to broadcast it. He gets the promotion, the deal, the girl, and still shows up like nothing happened. No humble brag, no cryptic tweet, no guess who just crushed it smile, just silence. Sigma males see success as a personal evolution, not a public event. They're not hiding it, they just don't need to prove it. Meanwhile, normal people are trained to announce every win like it's a press release. Instagram posts, LinkedIn updates, passive-aggressive, feeling grateful captions. But the Sigma, he celebrates privately, internally, maybe with a glass of whiskey and a playlist nobody else knows about. Because for him, the real flex is restraint. That mystery, that calm confidence. To others, it's suspicious. To him, it's just Tuesday. 10. He questions everything, even things you're not allowed to question. Here's where things start to get dangerous. You bring up a tradition, he asks why it exists. You mention a rule, he says, who made it? You repeat a cliche, everything happens for a reason, and he tilts his head like he just spotted a logical fracture. Sigma males weren't born to follow, they were born to interrogate. They don't argue for the sake of it. They question because their brains are hardwired for truth, not comfort. So when society hands them a script, career path, dating rules, timelines, identities, they flip it over and look for the author. And that unnerves people. Because most folks are just trying to get through the day without having their worldview challenged. But a Sigma, he'll gently, almost kindly, lift your beliefs up to the light, not to attack them, but to inspect them. And when he asks questions you can't answer, it doesn't feel like conversation anymore. It feels like trespassing. Because in a world obsessed with certainty, the Sigma lives in perpetual curiosity. And that, to most people, is the most illegal thing of all. See, the average man waits for permission to be himself. The Sigma, he's been himself the whole damn time, and the world's just catching up. So here's the real question. What would you do? Who would you become if you stopped following rules that don't even exist? Because maybe the things that feel illegal are just the first signs you're finally becoming free. If you made it this far, you're not here by accident. You're not chasing noise. You're chasing clarity. And that's exactly what we do here. So if you're the kind of man who asks why, instead of just nodding along, if you move different, think deeper, and live like silence is a superpower, then hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for the man you're becoming. Because this channel, it's not about fitting in. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be.